his magic middies. Will they get you over the line this season? Will Jake have Tedesco this week? Maxi, the consistent keeper. Ryan Hadley, Australia's next test fast bowler. Timmy, the 2020 SuperCoach champion. And Savs, the Newcastle. Tommy Turbo tragic.
Are you ready for some football?
We're ready for some football, baby.
All right, here we go.
You're now listening to the SuperCoach Experience Podcast.
Welcome back to the SuperCoach Experience. Savsy's not the host this week in a rare Team List Tuesday outage. He will not be with us today, but we have a massive panel. Myself, we've got Mikey, and Tim making his first appearance of the season. We'll get to it. And Maxi, he came back to Australia. He was on the Sunday show, and it's good to have him back. Guys, join the game team. We're going to do a little quiz again, so join that there, and we'll do that at the start. But before, I guess we do that, Mikey, good week for you, mate. How'd you go?
Yeah, 11:23 for me last week. Yet again, keep on climbing up the SuperCoach leaderboard. So, Captain Tommy Turbo straight off, which I kind of said in the podcast last week I was leaning towards, and yeah, that was pretty good. I made a late change, so I said I was going to bring in Reese Walsh. I backflipped on that trade, held Teddy, and I just thought I really need Jacob Preston, and I sold Nat Butcher to him, which gave me a lot of money for this week. And if I worked out my trades, if I didn't make any trades last week, I would have scored about 30 to 40 more points. But I made about an extra 100 and so K, or I made like 300K from my 3 trades. So I'm not unhappy, and I think Jacob Preston is someone you definitely need in your side. So I'm happy I switched there. Front row was a little disappointing with Welch, but the center wings and that were pretty good, and my second rows keep ticking over. So hoping for a bigger week to kind of get into that top 1,000. It's very close. Sabs is just behind me, but I think there's 10 points between us. So there's always a friendly competition between us. So over to you, I guess, Jake. How'd you go last week? I know you're bidding down spirits, but you'll come back, mate.
I was hoping not to actually talk about how I went this week. It was a shocker. It was a disaster. No Grant, Captain Val. Somehow got some unicorns right at the end, but yeah, poor week all around. We don't really need to go through our rank, but let's just say I'm the worst ranked member of the
one of your worst starts.
Yes.
Yeah, one of your worst starts. But hey, mate, you can claw back. Don't give up.
You would have started worse than this last year, Jake, didn't you? We all started at 60,000.
Oh, yeah, I was at 60K.
Round, bro.
Yeah, I was. I clawed back, Jake. You got. I guess go for it.
Moody, mate, this it's almost like a Ryan Madison sort of thing. You didn't want to take the fine. You didn't take the weeks off. Welcome back, mate. How have you been?
Yeah, good, man. Scored a massive 1,300 last week. Captained the best score of the week. Put myself into 250th rank. Just kidding, bro. No, I just scored a 1050. I just wanted to sort of flex a little bit.
You got me, Timmy.
Yeah, no. So I scored like 1,054. I'm in about 13,000th rank. I found last week pretty frustrating to watch SuperCoach. I just felt like I'm normally not too vocal, but I was just like standing the whole weekend in front of the television, just yelling. Like it was intense. I feel like I got so much wrong, like just all the benchies and stuff, like Alamotti going off and playing Warbrick. That sucked, and getting stuck with a couple of low scorers. Bit rough. So yeah, hoping this week I can field a stronger 17 than I did last week with all the Penrith boys gone.
Maxi, over to you, mate. How have you been? I'm sorry I'm a bit off. We're trying to work out what happened with the quiz. It only let us 3 people in. It might be a miss this week, but I cannot figure out why.
All good, yeah. So as kind of foreshadowed on the Sunday show, I had a pretty all right week. I think I was just above par. I got 1101, which pops me up to about 11k, which is a pretty all right start for me. I'm normally a bit slower when it comes to catching up with the others. So, but like Mikey, I backflipped on the Teddy to Walsh trade, which, as I said, paid off for about 70 minutes until that last 10 minutes, and then you have that going off, and you kind of have to consider whether to bring him in this week. So my trades were, I believe I brought in Preston in, I brought in Kiraz, and I brought in Sonny Luke. So those are all pretty decent trades, and onwards and upwards. So I'm still climbing, but yeah, pretty all right week for me.
I'll let you just run through a bit of a start, Mikey, see if I can figure this out, mate. Sorry.
Yeah, no, all good. So, yeah, I feel like a bit of a mixed bag there for all of us, but it's still really early. And even, I think at 3,000 rank, I was having a look. I'm only 350 points behind first. So, and example, people at 6,000 or whatnot, 7,000 are only like 30 or 40 points behind myself. So, it's pretty open at the moment. Yeah, I think it's quite a big week. There's a lot of good options. Obviously, with some of the plays on buys, this is the first week for players like the Dragons, Manly, and Panthers they're all going to go up in price for the first time. So I think that's a key point to make as we go through the team list. And there are quite a number of changes that we'll address today. Get everyone's thoughts around the most popular bring-ins too, which are going to be big talking points. But yeah, I think a lot of changes that are going to have SuperCoach ramifications. And I guess that could lead us into our trades for the week. We'll start at the bottom left-hand corner with you, Maxi. What's your trades or what's your thoughts around the trades this week? You thinking of going back to that Reece Walsh trade, or what are you thinking? Yeah,
you've hit the nail on the head with that one, Mikey. I think Saz and I talked about it on Sunday's podcast, and the Teddy to Walsh trade for the next 3 weeks, possibly 4, and then a move back to Teddy seems like the way to go. Hopefully I can make about 150k out of that trade, and then bring Teddy in once the buy's done, once that difficult matchup is kind of over. So that's one of my trades that I'm going. That creates a bit of cash generation. And the other trade I've got is no surprises, and we'll get on to Ruben Cotter not being named later, but I've gone Ruben Cotter to Joseph Tapine. There's a bit of complications around whether you go Haas, Tapine, whether you even go to someone like a Tohu. But I've gone with Tapine at the moment on kind of some good advice from Savs about the buys, and about whether I'll trade Haas out after this round when Origin hits. So those are my 2 trades at the moment. I'm contemplating doing a boost to get in maybe Bryce Cartwright, given he's still being named. Maybe go a week early on Josh Schuster, but I'm looking at someone like a Will Warbrick, or even an Isaiah Katoa to trade out too. So we'll see. But just the 2 trades at the moment for me.
Yeah, that's good. I guess while we're talking about trades, Jake, we'll finish it, but it looks like you've got it going.
I hope so. Hopefully this lets in more than 3 people.
Try and join the code, guys.
Yeah, try and join in.
And we'll just go through trades.
20 before, but
we'll try it, and if it doesn't work after this, we'll get rid of it. But all right, go for it, Jake.
And look, things don't run as smoothly when Sav's not in charge of all the all the technology and stuff. But my trades, I need to do something. I'm going to bring in Nico Heinz. I need to do something, I guess, big in terms of to try and get me up the rank. I think bringing Heinz is potentially one of those things.
Sam Walker, are you trading him to get him?
Yeah. So it'll be Sam Walker to Heinz. I'm going to get rid of, and he's just joined the party as well. I need to get rid of one of my front rollers, Ryan Sutton. Not the player I thought he was going to be. I don't know. I don't think I can afford Payne Haas, which I would have liked to go to a primo front row. But Gilbert, he looks like he's on the up. I mean, he's playing 60 minutes, averaging near 65, 70. So hopefully he can be a bit of my key to get up there. And I'm getting rid of Tedesco to, I guess, get a bit more money to Walsh. And I think Walsh, although, like we've sort of talked about, he was quite poor early on, somehow ended up with nearly 100 at the end. So he's going to make a lot of money. I think he's a good bridge to a Latrell Mitchell later on, who is going to drop down in price. So they're my trades.
Yeah, nice. I like all those trades. That'll make sense. Timmy, I know you're not the person or player to lock in your trades on a Tuesday. I know you kind of like to bubble on them, but what's your early thoughts? What do you like and what aren't you liking? What's in for the Villi Armies this week? Wait, we can't hear you, Timmy.
He's muted himself.
Okay, yeah, my thoughts
There we
are.
go. We got you.
Snowflakes is in the game. He's under the name Timmy Two Teeth. I know. I can see right through your snowflakes. Okay, in regards to trades, I brought in Walsh last week, and when I was talking about a painful watch, I mean that was next level. Like he was on 0 at halftime, and I was panicking. Like I was having near panic attacks. Like this is the biggest mistake in SuperCoach, and I'm not happy with it still. Like the 90, I feel stupid about it. I like the draw for the Broncos. I can see he's got it in him, but come on, man! Like there's no base there, and like I can't rely on the last 10 minutes for players to get tired for him. I'm really nervous about him, and I feel like people who are holding on to Teddy are in prime position. I might give him one more week, and if he doesn't show signs of like if he puts out like an average-ish score and looks like it could be something going forward. Like it's hard to read the draw. We say the draw looks good, but all these teams that are meant to be shithouse are upsetting the good sides. So it's a bit hard to read into the draw at the moment. But in regard to trades, for me, like that was last week, Walsh. I think Nico does. Like it looks like I'd want to do that. I've got Sam Walker there too, so it makes sense because Sam Walker's got the week off. Lucky for me and you and Jake and anyone else that does have Sam Walker, because Heinz is playing in the last game, if he doesn't get named to start, people who bring him in could get stuck. Like he could be a late dropout or something. Because we've got Sam Walker there, we can make that switch at the Vic and once he pretty much runs onto the field, which is a nice peace of mind. So I'll wait and see if he does take the field and probably just him as
we lost him at the end there.
No, it's back.
Yeah, static. Yeah. No, we heard basically most of that. Yeah, it's a good point. I guess as we go through teams, like Trindle's on the bench, so who knows? They might rest him a bit. But you know what I'm like. My trades are going to be pretty similar to Jake's. Actually, I'm all over Heinz. I love jumping on a big name player. I had a 475k war chest coming into this. I'm going to boost again, so that's 2 boosts. I'm going to sit tight on the boost, but I really want to try and get ahead. I'm after that one big week, and Tedesco pissed me off last week. I held him for one more. He's going to drop a bit of cash. I know he's going to bounce back at some point, but what if he doesn't? Reece Walsh is rocks and diamonds. I agree with Timmy there, but he's got a very low break even. He's in and around the ball, and if the Broncos keep up with his form, he's going to be all over the points. He's going to kind of be like a bit of a roller coaster, like Sean Johnson back in his heyday. But I'm going to take that ride. I'm a sucker for a ride like that, and it might be a short-term purchase, but I think it's worth it, and especially it will strengthen the team for this week. I really wanted Garrick, but after a big performance from Walsh, that money allows me to go Welch to Haas. And then I'm boosting and going Kalen Ponga via Jules to Nico Heinz. So I'm getting Heinz, Haas, and Walsh.
Did you watch the Brisbane game, Mikey?
I didn't watch it all completely. I was out for a friend's birthday, but I saw the last 20 bits and pieces. I didn't have any sound. I was at the pub.
You're speaking like someone.
Pretty shit feed.
You're speaking like someone didn't catch the game because like he wasn't all over nowhere.
No, I'm talking about the previous week where I watched him and I thought he was everywhere over the ball that week. I saw him, and I just think at that last I saw the highlights. He was all over it in that last 10 minutes, and it's not practical, but I don't care where he scores his points. Now we just want him to keep doing it, and although he's got a tough matchup against the Dolphins, who have been good, I really think that it's a battle for Brisbane. All these players are going to level up, and he's the kind of show pony perfect for this arena. So I think he's in for a big one, personally. I know it's scary, but I could see him again with another big score. And realistically, if he goes 70 plus, that's a good purchase because he's going to start rolling in some serious cash for the next fortnight if he does that. If he doesn't, then yeah, it's a bit scary, but I'm not as worried. Nico Heinz, yeah, like him. And your comment, Maxi, you're going to Tapane. Look, Payne Haas was awesome, 2 line break assists, but the only reason I didn't start with him was all that off-field drama, but I really think he's past that, and yeah, he's a lock for my side. I'm not worried about the buys now. I just need a gun front row, so I'm happy to do that. So yeah, that's my trades. I think I need to kind of start stepping back with the trades after this week, but yeah, I want to try and get ahead.
Nah, they're there. Use them all, Mikey.
Mikey, go for it.
I want to try and get ahead. So hey, I saved 2 in the first week, so I think that's why I think it's okay to boost. But yeah. All right, that's it for trades. And that's it for East Walsh.
Go through. I saw this out. Sorry, guys. Only it's got 11 there, but only 10 can join. We had more, but for some reason not working. As I said, Sav's not here, but we'll run it through. You can play. I mean, it's going to be funny. You can play at home, even if you're not in this game. It's not really going to be for any prizes. We're having good fun with it. So I'll kick it off for everyone playing. Good luck. TLT. I think we've got 8 questions in this one. Who is the best ranked SC Experience member?
Oh.
What if it was you, Jake?
Mate,
It's a long time to put your answer in.
I'm on it. I'm one of the 4 options there.
This isn't the fastest finger.
Hey.
And actually, these two are actually very close. They're
10 points. If you were here from the start of the episode, I gave the answer away.
Yeah. The faster you answer, the more points you get as well, guys.
Far out.
Who had the highest scoring
cool
round in round 3? Yeah, I have to put it on 20 seconds because there's a delay in the stream. Otherwise, they will miss out actually potentially guessing.
So the options are, for people
Harry
listening
Grant,
in, the options
Tessie
are
Lou,
Harry Grant.
Marcelo or Tom Trebojevic.
5
people got that one. Master Montoya, nice scorer.
Very nice.
Of course. Jake Baby hand to the lead.
This not allowed to win. I guarantee it's one of my mates as well.
Yeah, it'd have to be.
Whose price did not increase by more than 100k this round? Three of these players did.
Good question.
Oh, this is hard.
Jacob
I'm
Preston,
say
Braden Trindle.
It'd be by not much.
Sarko, not much, because the one who didn't, I think, made 99k.
I think it'd be a Sarko.
Yeah, Sarko, my pick.
Or maybe Trindle made 90 something.
It was Trindle.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah.
It was 99.
Oh, pitch Jacob Preston.
Oh, of course, Jake Baby, you got it right.
Oh, he's smashing it.
Stitch up. Whose price went down the most? Who lost the most cash? Jaden Campbell, Hudson Young, James Tedesco, or Joe Offa-Hungale? More points.
Oh,
nice picture.
Yeah. I was trying to
savvy with
things to not give away the answer. So, yeah, pretty.
Yeah, like so.
And then on people, Jaden Campbell lost the most cash coming off the bench 2 weeks in a row. Like Baby Hands, still got the question right.
geez, what a lead.
This is a joke. I don't think they're running down either. Who has the lowest break even this week? Reece Walsh, Jacob Preston, Tyrell Sloan, or Jonah Pezzett? I have a picture of Hopgood and I because he had last year or last week. Sorry.
I'll say Preston.
Yeah, or Pezzett. But Pezzett's only had a 1 game sample size.
Oh, fuck, I'm so good.
Jake Baby Hands got it wrong, but I think he's too far ahead. Who was the highest projected round 4 score? Now, this is as per SuperCoach Plus. So Latrell, Tom Travojevic, Nico Heinz, or Nathan Cleary.
Nico.
It's Latrell.
But Cleary's only projected 30 this week. Wow, what? Why so low?
Where is Connor?
Come on.
Flying home.
He's playing Parramatta.
Who is the highest averaging halfback? Joan Pezzett, who's only played one game. Jerome Hughes, Adam Reynolds, or Dally Cherry Evans?
I'd go with the... wait till it's a 3. Adam Reynolds, I'm thinking.
Yeah,
Sabs is pot option.
I think it's Jerome.
It's Daly.
Best halfback in the league. Wow.
Oh, he's up. He's up. New leader. Joey John's bag. I'm hoping you win instead of Jake's baby hands. Last question. Pre-TLT, who is not in the top 5 most traded in? It's definitely not James Tedesco. Josh Schuster, Payne Haas, Nico Hines, or Tom Travojevic?
The photo of James Tedesco there. Love it.
Yeah. It's obviously the most traded out.
Also a tough one. It could be any of those.
Nico was not. Tom Travojevic was. I'm pretty sure Nico will end up in it. All right, that was it. Hopefully Jake Babyhands has not won this. Hopefully he's not the one person that got it right. Please. 3rd spot.
3.
Where is Cotter? Jake's Babyhands.
Yeah.
Yes.
From behind. Looked like it was gone. Joey John.
He flew one. And runners up, Baggins in 4th. All right, so hopefully we'll figure out how to add more people in for the next couple. Stabs did have a premium account. For some reason that didn't work, probably because we're adding different devices. But we'll look forward to doing that every week. So it's a good bit of fun, that.
All right. Awesome. All right, let's get started. I know Sabs doesn't normally like to do it, but I'm going to kind of go down the order of the team list. I think it's so much easier to organise.
Bit of structure.
The first thing is the Roosters are on the bye this week, so I want to start. I know a few of us are doing it. I've seen Sabs in a few comments say he doesn't like the Tedesco sell, which is crazy because he doesn't own Tedesco, so it doesn't make any sense. But for me to make some sense, do we think as a group that Tedesco is a sell? I know I'm doing it. I swear I heard someone else say they're doing it. For me, it's not just the break even. It's the fact he's on a bye this week. I want to make up some numbers this week, so I think 2 fullbacks are good for this week. I guess if there wasn't as many options like Garrick or Walsh knocking down the door, I wouldn't be for it. But until the Roosters really get a good groove, they've been winning some games and he's still not performing. If he keeps these average 60 scores up, you could go Walsh to Tedesco and maybe make a few. So I'm going to start with you, Timmy, because I know both the other two kind of commented on a bit. I know you sold him last week. You did say you wanted to bring him back in. What would you do this week if you didn't pull the trigger on Tedesco last week?
I sold him after round
1. Yeah.
I didn't do it last week. I did it after round 1. Yeah. So no biggie. So I would say, look, for me, I think I wanted to get rid of him because I found him frustrating and I didn't want to go through the frustration that I put myself through last year of him starting slow. However, after watching Walsh after 2 weeks, I think it's a nervous play. I can understand people wanting to do it. I did it myself. I would just much rather have Tedesco every single week versus Walsh in my head-to-heads or against someone else. I think that he scored 3 low ones. He's probably due to bounce back once they come back. I think I'm going to try find a way to bring him back as soon as I can. So probably after this week, I might get him back for next week. So when he returns, that's my thinking. I don't want to put myself through stress with Walsh, so I'm just going to keep rotating that fullback spot.
It's important to note too that they played the Eels, then the Melbourne, and then the Sharks. So I wouldn't you know what I mean.
Para's struggling. Para's struggling. The Storm are a very different side this year with
Munster's
the
back.
Dolphins fellas that have left.
If they lose to Penrith this week, it's going to be 4-0. Surely they want to.
Teddy should have scored about 120 in round 2. He was very unlucky for him not to. There was a lot of balls that he almost scored. But Suwali wasn't going to pass to him. Then there was another knock on, and then there was another pass which he but Sam Walker caught and scored. So he really could have been anything then. It's tough. I respect the people that put it this way. Although I've got rid of him, I respect the people that are holding Teddy. That's the way I put it. I just think they'll be having the last laugh.
Yeah, I think with
Can
the
you
extra
hear me?
trades, I can hear you. You're just a bit glitchy. I think with the extra trades, if you have a way to get back to him, it could work out to be better for you, especially if Walsh bangs out 80 plus this week. Maxi, anything different to add? I know you're nodding, so I feel like you agree.
Yeah, I mean, I can see both sides of the coin on this one. I'm trading personally because he hasn't looked that flash hot in the first couple of weeks. Yes, I know he could have got a better score in round 2, but I mean, we can say that for the majority of SuperCoach players, they can get a better score if someone passes it their way. The bye combined with the game against the Eels, which I think is going to be tightly contested, combined also with the fact that, Roosters aren't looking that fantastic. I think ultimately, absolutely, he will come into gear. But I think for 3 or 4 weeks, you're pretty safe. And I think you can wait until perhaps there's a better performance from the Chooks, but also better performance SuperCoach-wise for Teddy before you jump back on. I think if you're trading Reece Walsh in as a keeper, I'd warn against that. But if you're trading someone like Reece Walsh in for 4 weeks, 5 weeks until Teddy comes back into gear, then moving back to him, or or a stepping stone, someone like a Latrell, then I agree with that move. So, if you're on the side of the coin that you think Teddy should go out, then that's obviously the way you go. If you're arguing to hold Teddy, I just say that, that matchup against the Eels doesn't look fantastic. And, there's an opportunity there to make a lot of coin that you could use for the rest of your side. So, but again, Teddy's a proven keeper and could well come back into form in 2-3 weeks, and then you're not wasting a trade there. So I can see both sides. Ultimately, I think I side with you on this one, Mikey, and obviously with Jake. But yeah, I can see both merits to both of them.
Yeah, 100%. Timmy will be back. He's having a bit of technical difficulties. We'll see if we can fix that up. Otherwise, we'll just go on the 3 of us. Jake, anything else to really about the debate?
I guess, just on the Teddy one. He was unlucky 2 weeks ago. He could have had a double. But I think the Roosters are playing a bit differently. They're kind of using Manu and Suwali to wrap on the other side of the field and play like another fullback instead of Tedesco. And Tedesco kind of just hogs the middle. Well, that's what I saw a little bit of on the weekend. I think the fact that they have 3 fullbacks in their side, they're trying to use or get the most out of all of them, which we kind of saw that last year as well with Tedesco. And they kind of went back to Teddy played both sides at the end of the season, and that worked for him. But I don't know, Trent Robinson seems to be kind of using all of them as much as they can, which, yeah, I'm not liking the look of Teddy, and I'm happy to jump off him. And like Maxi said, Reece Walsh ain't a keeper. I think Latrell's going to be my plan in a couple of weeks, 3-4 weeks when Walsh hits his cap.
Yeah, exactly. I think that point you made about Suwali's massive and Manu, I think they're really taken off him. And there's a world where you could maybe fade Tedesco for this year. Like, even if he goes one massive one with all these average ones, it might be better not to have him. Like, as Jake said, go to Latrell. There's also a world where the Broncos draw is pretty friendly. I could hold him longer than maybe what I first think. There's a world where you might be able to. They do have that buy in round 13. Obviously, if Ponga doesn't come back, there's probably Brimson or Walsh. Like, if he's playing that good and scoring good SuperCoach points, he's probably going to get an Origin jersey. But if for some reason he doesn't, he does provide buy coverage for that first buy. I think
assuming he doesn't play Origin.
Yeah, that's the big if. But at the same time, you don't have to worry about a buy all the way till then. That's something I kind of like as well. Same thing with the bunnies, but you don't have to worry about a buy for a long time. I don't think it's till like around 15 or 16, which is pretty huge. So it depends. Obviously, if he peaks at the right price, I think you'll drop off knowing that he could score about a 20. So it's going to be, how you maneuver him is going to be the key. All right, let's go through team lists. We're going to start off Thursday with a grand final rematch. My boys up against our arch rivals, the Parramatta. Some key changes for SuperCoach and a big watch. We thought Matt Drury was going to look like a serious knee injury. Not sure if he's been cleared of that, but
no, I think it's come out as an ACL. I think that's the.
Yet he's been named on the bench.
Oh, has he? Oh,
he's been named on the bench. That's why I don't know if anything's been concrete. I don't know if that's smokes and mirrors by the Eels there, but
I thought he was cleared. I thought he was cleared of ACL. And
if anyone does have,
I'll look at that while we get on to the next of the rest of the team list.
Yeah, cool. So the key change is Madison's back off his 3-round suspension. He slots. I actually thought they were going to put him into second row, which is interesting. Cardi keeps his spot. Hopefully keeps the 80 minutes. If Dury is fit, I think the big question is who's that going to impact? Is that going to impact Cardi? Is that going to impact Hopgood? It's going to be an interesting one this week. I think with me buying Heinz, I'm not going to play Cardi this week. He's been awesome, but I want to see who it impacts. I think it's a lot safer if I just put in Hopgood with the amount of people that will play him. We've got Timmy back too. We're just going through the Penrith Para lineup, Tim. So they're the key changes for SuperCoach. Also, Brendan Hands, who used to play for Panthers, he's on the bench. He's a dummy half for the people that don't know. So obviously want to provide a bit of coverage for Hodgson, but that's also big news for the forwards for Eels because they've been running a 4-forward bench. There's now only 3. So I think that is also a good thing for Hopgood and Cartwright. And be interesting if Dury is out, they're most likely probably put Momasia back on to the bench, I'm assuming. And the Panthers, they're very similar to how they were before. The only change is Sorensen comes back on the bench for the Panthers. So looking almost a fully fit side other than Taylor May.
Do you think this is a bounce back of Nathan Cleary, Mikey? Is he in for a big one?
I guess that's the biggest talking point for this one, which we'll discuss. Nathan Cleary as a popular trade out last week. I'm not sure how many people.
I think he's still being
traded out now. Yeah, we'll get that number of how many people have traded him out at this stage. Yeah, he's number 6, 3,100. So he was very popular. He was like 50-something%. He's now gone to 46. So crazy. I know we're talking about trading Teddy. I couldn't bring myself to trade both of these guys out. I do think he's in for a bit of a comeback. I know if you look to last year's scores, he didn't score well against Parramatta, but he got sent off for one of them. So he had the -10 and he only played minimal minutes. It's a big grudge match. They've come off the bye. Manly looked great coming off the bye. Parramatta are going to be hungry for a win, though. But, yeah, I'm going to have something on him this week with the armband. And, yeah, I do think he can bounce back. Both these teams are always up for this kind of match. And, yeah, I'm expecting a big game from both teams. So, yeah, hopefully bounce back for Cleary. I don't think it's going to be anything of that 160 break even. But, hey, it's Cleary.
We've said it before. He's like, he won't be his break even. He's gone done.
Yeah. Don't hold your breath. There was a little bit of concerns with an ankle injury. I know he definitely did go for scans, but I think the week off was kind of good. I know Luai also had some issues too. So the week off for both of them come at the right time. So, yeah, as far as I know, they'll both be good. Timmy, let's test out your audio. Cleary, what are you thinking with Cleary? I know, do you think selling him's a crazy...
Yeah, I think that's definitely crazy. It's way crazier than selling Teddy. He's like, there's not much options in halfback. How am I? Am I glitching out?
No, you're good at the moment.
Okay.
You sound a lot clearer too. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, obviously Adam Reynolds, Jerome Hughes, DCE are all looking okay, but I just think the consistent guy that will pay us all off will be Cleary. So, yeah, for me, that's a guaranteed hold.
Jake, Cleary to Heinz. Is that Because I know that's a popular trade option this week. I know all four of us seem to be against trading him, but would you do?
No, I think that's very sideways. And the fact that Cleary's now done with his bye, Heinz has a bye in 3 weeks. So it's 2 games and a bye. I think it's too much swapping. I think you kind of need both of them. I'd rather just leave Cleary if you don't have the funds for Heinz. I mean, he's an extra 60K on Cleary, so I'd rather stay off that move if you can.
And Maxi, do you disagree with us? Or
no.
All aboard the Cleary train?
I'm all aboard the Cleary train. I just think, you're going to want him in your side long term. Like I think the Panthers will click into gear a lot sooner than the Chooks will. I think they're already kind of there from their last performance, but I think Cleary's going to really get going after the bye. So I think it's a hold on him. It seems so sideways, and especially like the argument against Heinz is like, yes, we haven't seen him play after the calf injury. So the absolute annoying trade to make would be trade Cleary to Heinz, and then Heinz re-injures that calf again. That can be one that can just destroy your SuperCoach team. I just think it's too risky of a move, and you kind of opt to trade someone else to get Heinz if you really want him. Yeah,
I think that's pretty.
It might be hard for people that have got if they've got Katoa at halfback. That's a massive upgrade to Heinz at 900K. It's almost impossible. I don't think you could probably make it happen with a boost, but you'd have to downgrade 2 other key positions, like a gun second rower or a gun prop or something like that. So, yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. I'm kind of looking forward to how the next couple of weeks take shape.
Yeah. I think the point if people were worried about that in their side, you would have had a plan at the start of the year, starting with Cleary, not taking Heinz. If you weren't taking Heinz, which a lot of us didn't, there was always a plan at how to get him. So if you didn't kind of have a plan there, your plan before round 1 wouldn't have been Cleary to Heinz. Only because of 2 mediocre scores you would have. So that's why I kind of think that is a poor move. And as Maxi said, the injury. Someone was going to say something?
Yeah. No, I was just going to say the way that I'd have to do it if I wanted to bring in Heinz this week is I'd have to go Teddy to Sloan or someone like that, and then maybe a Brimson or a Dewey via Jules to go to Heinz. So I think even that is a better option. I know it's it's a bit risky to go into Sloan, but I think that is a better option if you're going to go Heinz than going Cleary to Heinz.
While we're talking about Heinz, I think it's important to note that you do not have to jump on this week. I know quite a few people are, but it comes with the injury concern. I guess the people that are wanting to jump on purely are hoping he goes massive in these next 2 ones and are getting ahead before the curve and also just getting into your team. But there's every chance it's a really high injury reoccurrence, this injury. So it's a good chance, he could.
It's no
Trindle's
stress
on the
if
bench.
he gets injured, though. Because at
900K,
you only just wasted a trade or 2 trades, getting him in and out. Yeah, so you're more risky you sort of fading him, I think. You could definitely have one.
I think you give him a week.
How involved he is. But for me, I think the move's to get him. Just do it straight away.
I mean, just quickly, there's a comment on there's a comment on Facebook from Josh Smith to say, "Are we even sure Heinz will play?" I think we're pretty sure if he's named in the starting lineup that he's going to play. I know with Trindle being in the team list, there's obviously a slight concern, but I think Timmy's point is also valid.
I don't think they'd name him if he wasn't going to play. He said it last week that he was going to come back. All these people were just hoping, all these Trindle buyers are hoping that he was going to come in after the bye round, have his break, but he wouldn't come back if he wasn't right. It's Nico Heinz. I said it in a few chats. He wants to be out there. He wants to play. The Sharks are also, they haven't played horrible, but they're 1 of 3. So, I think they want him back, and I just think his presence. I reckon if he was in the game, I reckon they could have been 3 out of 3 if he was there. Trindle was great, but Heinz are just the Sharks are, And look, I made the mistake not having him last year, but let's move on to the next game so we don't dwell.
Move on.
All right, Storm versus the Tigers, which is, the Storm have been very disappointing, and they have Munster back this week, which I'm going to say is the biggest inclusion. They'll be better with Munster. The Tigers also have a lot of changes. This game, I think, has a lot of changes that impact SuperCoach. So Munster's the big one for the Storm. Kamikamitha, is he back? Like, I don't think he was there last week, was he? Don't quote me if I'm wrong, but
no, he did.
I think he came off the bench.
Okay.
Yeah, he came off the bench.
Okay, so he's back in the starting side then. And then that looks all pretty settled. But the big one is we were rumoured of a Tigers reshuffle, and we've got it. Dewey goes back to fullback. We're going to talk about that. Kapoa goes from the edge to centre. Tupu holds his spot. Wakeham comes in from the bench to start in 5'8". And they have dropped Offahingawe. Yeah, Noffangawe. Nofaluma, Offangawe, and Laurie is back on the bench. And Safaf comes onto it. They don't know what they want to do. It's crazy.
When you're playing four, you got to do things. I guess the big one out of it, there's a lot of questions about it, is do you hold at fullback? Thoughts on Dewey at fullback? I think he scores less. What do we think, guys?
Let's talk about that. Yeah, most traded out. I think he's in there. Is he?
Yeah, he's up there.
I think it could be good for his footy. Just because I feel like at 5'8", there's too much responsibility to sort of not. Honestly, Brooks at halfback will control the side, but him still being in that front line, I think he's expected to do too much. I think if he's at fullback, he might come in less, but his contributions could be quite good when he does chime in. I don't think he's a rush to sell. I definitely want to hold and see how he goes.
Yeah.
Number
2 on the most traded out.
For sure.
Break even of 101 and versing the Melbourne Storm. So I think a lot of people are getting scared. Or if you've got the jewels, I think a lot of people would be going to here to Heinz. I could get around that trade. I could get around that. If that's your bridge to Heinz, you only need 290K. I don't hate it. Go, Tim.
I find awkward is amount of moving around that might happen within the side. Like with Dane Laurie, or maybe Dane Laurie comes on after, I don't know, 30 minutes, maybe he comes on at 50 minutes, and then he goes to centre, and it all gets shuffled. I'm just concerned that they might be moving pieces around a bit, but I guess we just got to wait and see.
Yeah. I'm all aboard giving him one more week, and if he doesn't perform next week, I don't mind upgrading him to Brown, or a lot of people probably eyeing off him to Schuster next week. But
or even Munster. I mean, the return of Munster, he's a top 5'8".
Yep.
I mean, people are jumping early on Heinz. Munster's just as good in terms of his position at 5'8".
It's a great point. It'd be a bit of a pod move too. I don't hate that at all.
Christian Welch, shocking minutes last week. Heavily owned. Is he a trade out, or is it let's have a look this week and see what he does?
I've traded him out. Maybe a bit of a rage trade. It's important to note, I think his minutes would have decreased. Very hot game at the Gold Coast. Very, very hot game. So that could have been a reason behind his minutes. I hear a lot of people saying he's going to get increased minutes this week. I don't want to bar of it. That fluctuation in minutes is too scary for mine. He just held his price. If he goes crap again this week, it's going to factor out. I'm just like, you know what? That was enough to scare me. I'm running him and a Toikamanu. I'm like, nah, I need a gun front rower. At least with Haas, I'm spending the money, but I can get 60. And I want that as kind of like a floor. And Toikamanu's chugging along nicely. He's one Tigers player I'm happy to kind of play. I'm happy with that. So, look, I don't think he's an urgent sell, but for me, if he's your main front rower and you're concerned, I think trading him out this week isn't bad against the Broncos. If you want Haas, I think jump on Haas this week. 40 break even roughly. He's going to keep going up in price. Tapane. There's some good front rolls. So Harris is going to keep increasing in price. I think it's a week to jump on a front rower if you're not happy with
Haas won that game for the Broncos.
100%.
Yeah, Haas was on
fire.
He
can do that.
Man, breaks it did. They just put him back on the field, and it might have looked like, Reece Walsh saved the day, but it was all him, man. He set it all up.
Yeah. 2 line break assists, some offloads.
I'm so annoyed I didn't start with him. Yeah, it sucks to bring him in, though, because you've got to bring him in, bring him out. The move's just to start with Haas, I reckon, and then get him out possibly for the Origin. So I don't know what I'm going to do now. I think I'm just going to stressfully ignore him and hope he doesn't keep killing it.
No buy round, friendly draw. He'll be up for this match. And the fact is, yeah, you might worry about him at the buys, but you've got from rounds 4 to round 12 to get some points out of him. And that's why I understand the buys. Look, the buys are a lot easier this year. I think just focus on getting the best plays in that you can and worry about the points. So that's my thought behind it. But that's why it's good to have different thoughts.
And I guess we've already moved into, I guess, the Queensland game. The Manchester Derby, as a Maxi would be accustomed to over in England.
Before we do that, Jake, I was going to ask one more Storm question. Do we think the ship has sailed on Elise Katoa? With scores, I can't remember the first one's like 53 or something. Yeah. The 90, and then he gets the 63 on the weekend. He's looking great, and he looks like someone you could hold for quite a bit. He went up a little from 410 to like 490, and he sits with a break even in the minus, I'm assuming, or very low.
Yeah, minus 9.
Break even at minus 9.
I don't think the ship's sailed.
No. Jake, you don't own him. Like you're not tempted at all to try and bring him in?
No, I mean, I don't think it hasn't sailed, but I think there's probably other positions you'd rather fix up than second row. I think Preston's probably a preference if you don't have him as a second rower. I don't really see a lot of movement with people's second row. I mean, you've got, say, a couple of guns there.
So many going well.
You got Hopgood, Cartwright's going well, and we're really trading him out. So I think it's difficult. Like Teague Wilton's doing just as well, and like without looking fantastic, he's plodding along, getting 55, 60. So it's kind of, unless you got say an Egan Butcher and you want to go a bit sideways and grab him, that's probably a move I'd do.
I'd do that trade. Yeah.
Assuming you already had a Preston, but other than that, I think he's the kind of one that you're going to have to pass and maybe look to get him maybe later if he looks like he's going to become a keeper.
100%. We're gonna let's keep going here because
the Brisbane game. We were talking about Haas and how good he was,
and Walsh. So I don't think we need to talk about those two guys.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about those guys. Adam Reynolds was surprisingly good as well. He was a
shout out to Sabs.
Sabs
did put a post up before that score, so we got to shout him out there. He's very good at picking his pods, that guy, and good shout and a good score to back it up. So yeah, look, I sledge him, but I'll give it to him. He's not a bad pod, but I feel like there's quite a few options at halfback, and I know all of us would probably want to get Cleary and Heinz in. If you know what I mean, it's the 5'8", which is a bit more. I don't know what to do there, but it's pretty contentious. Interesting one. He tempts a lot of super coaches, and I think he's going to continue to. Tony Staggs.
Oh, this is Tim's mate. Tim's mate to Tony.
Let's go to Tim.
Reed Marnie and Tony Staggs.
Two handy scores. It's looking good. You're gonna get him? Is people going to get him, and then he's going to do what he does and go? What are you thinking, Timmy?
Nah,
what's your radar?
Back. He's back big time. Yeah, he's making positive comments. I like his post-game chat that he had. I think it was on Channel 9. I was watching that game. My KO's been playing up. KO stuffed up last weekend. That was really annoying. I didn't get to watch the Newcastle game because of it. Yeah, I think Staggs is back. He did hint at, he was sort of taking it easier and not really getting involved as much. He was a bit hampered with an injury, I think, there. But now he seems focused and he's on. I like him.
8% break even at 21. So good pod, I reckon.
The Broncos have a pretty good draw as well.
It's tough because if you had the extra money, you got Herbie Farnsworth as well, who's posted 84, 64, 52. So, and he's owned by even less. So, Farnsworth sounds better.
You're doing the Fletch and Hindy. They call him Farnsworth.
Yeah. Well, you know what I'm like. I love pronouncing them wrong. Yeah, my apologies to any of the players. But what about? Let's flick over to the Dolphins. Yeah, don't get me to try and call those ones. I've been calling Moale Mole for the past 4 or 5 weeks. And I know Timmy wants him to stick with that one. So, the Dolphins. I guess there isn't really too much to talk about but their centre wing keeps on chugging along. Tessie new now with a ton, but priced pretty high. And Hammer, I think, is a great buy for those who bought 55. I honestly thought he was going to update a bit more. I wasn't happy with that Aitken try assist, but it's how they kind of score it, so I can't get angry. And I guess Asako looks like he's not as bad as a buy if you jumped on round one than what it looked like. He's making cash. He's in the top 10, the highest score at the moment. Like, it's not as bad as it first looked, which is kind of crazy. Anyone else have anything they want to add with the Dolphins? Or actually, Tom Gilbert.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Yep, right on the money there. Yep.
Tommy Gilbert. I'm potentially bringing him in. He's gone 81. If you take the try off, 64. He got 70 last week just in pure base. He's getting minutes. The first game he got 50. You kind of put that aside. Dolphins are easing into it. He's gone 60 minutes, and he's getting over a point per minute. So I think he's a poor man's Haas. I think he's 530K, 12, and Jewel as well, which is pretty key. Everyone sort of had him at the start in their pre-TLT teams. Then they got rid
scared.
of him. But now it's like, we probably should have started him instead of useless Ryan Sutton like I did.
Yeah, I went him to Welch like last minute because I had a look at his stats last year and I was like, you know what, this guy got minutes and his work rate was so poor. But is it the Wayne Bennett effect? Like, I don't know. Like they're playing out of their skin. Like, how long is it gonna go for? I guess if you want him, you jump on now.
Last year with Gilbert, he was starting on the edge. He was playing half an hour on the edge, so his PPM was kind of reflective of him playing 60 minutes in the middle.
Well, now he's in the middle.
Yeah, now he's pure in the middle. It's all right. Let's move on to the other Queensland.
Is it all base or is it...
Yeah, all base.
I just want to getting any. Yeah, it's all base.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all base.
The last
try in round 2.
Yeah, that was off a kick. Kind of just fell on the ball.
Yeah. All right, next game.
The other Queensland game.
Only 2 games on Saturday. Do we know why? 3 games on the Sunday this week.
Oh, no, that's next week.
No, Easter's not for another couple of weeks. But yeah, I don't know why.
Warriors game. Maybe a Warrior game.
It's because my brother's getting married on Saturday and they don't want me to miss too many games, so they just put the extra game on a Sunday.
But they put the Manly game on the Saturday for you, so they're not really looking out for you.
They're still kicking the head.
Yeah, because they know that they know I know Manly's going to win, so it could be all good.
We'll kind of zip through the teams that don't really have much SuperCoach relevance. I don't really have much out of this game.
The big one is Ruben Cotter's out. Ruben Cotter is out. There's a few people saying Cotter, why? One of our team names in the quiz was where is Cotter? He's out 2 to 4. I think it's what was it? Meniscus injury, so 2 to 4 weeks for him. So I think
massive for the ones that started with him,
because he was a premium front roller that people start with.
Yeah, and we know that the Cowboys will ease him back with injury. They did it last year over the second half of the season when he came back. So yeah, I think you got to get rid of him. Unfortunately, it's one of those ones where we thought we had so much hope with him, with a full preseason under his belt, but yeah, it just hasn't paid off.
And I guess there's 2 Titans to talk about. I've got David Fafita. I don't own him. It's gone back to last year's antics. He went to the bench, didn't play the full 80.
Might have been the heat thing, though, maybe, Mikey.
Yeah, we did. Definitely could have been, but look, I guess you wouldn't be too concerned. But if his minutes kind of keeps up, this is kind of what made him, on him last year. Maxi, Joan Fafita, and are you worried by that if you do?
I mean, it's the same thing as last year. Like, with Fafita, they can line him up wherever, but he's just that kind of player which there's just inconsistency there, not only from his play, but the coaching there too. And I think he'll end up around about the top 5, 6 second rowers. Would I move him out? I think there's bigger priorities to move out at the moment. Am I concerned? Yeah, but probably the same amount of concern I had if I started with him in round 1 with Holbrook and his inconsistent play.
Yeah, fair. Can't disagree there. Tanner Boyd, we'll go to you, Timmy. Not sure if you own him. Has been very underwhelming. We all were hoping that with this average he had at the end of last year, bring it into this one. a lot of people are selling. I'm a Tanner Boyd owner. I know it was in the chat. We're talking about that. I know Maxi was considering to sell. What would you be doing with him? See, for me, I'm holding. I'm not too worried yet. Like, he's not going to drop too much cash. He scored a 40.
Yeah, if you've got bigger fish to leave on the bench and just fizzle him off, then that's fine. But he is taking up a key spot. I think if you had him at halfback, you'd probably want to do something about that.
Yeah.
If you've got him as your second hooker, it's probably okay. Yeah, I just think having him's not that much of a big deal. You know what I mean? You could get rid of him if you really want someone, but it's going to be a bit of a jump. You can play the slow burn with him. His attacking stats will probably come.
If they come, then it's a decent hold, and you can ride him for a couple of weeks. So
I want to know what your thoughts are on Khan Pereira this weekend. He'll be going up against the old boy Kyle Felt. I think he might be able to burn him. Do you reckon he could be a play this weekend? After watching him last week, and he just looks. Anyone's a risky play these days. Playing Dewey's a risky play. I don't know. I think it's the attacks there, and I kind of like Titans are doing for them to have put on so many points against the Storm. And
they could upset the Cowboys for sure.
Cowboys,
100%.
Yeah, the Cowboys aren't really that unit yet, that they were. They're still a very solid football side, but I feel like Khan Pereira might be a play again this week.
It's good. It's important to note. It'd be a pod play because I know after Warbrick's outing, a lot of people would be scared to play them. And I guess with the way my center wing's set up, I think I'd prefer to play Taruva over Khan Pereira just as a bit of a safety. And I believe that try's coming. But I didn't really look at it as hard as you have, Timmy. And high risk, high reward. I guess he plays the fourth game. So you could kind of have a look at how you're scoring. And I guess if you were a bit behind, I'd be too scared to do it because a 10 or 20 could really hurt you if you believe you're behind. That's just the scary part. Maxi, with Tanner Boyd, did you have anything else to add? Because I know you were kind of bringing him up in the chat.
Yeah, I mean, he's not impressing, but he's not really the probably not the biggest issue in your side at the moment. But I think he's a trade out eventually. Yeah. It's kind of one where it's a luxury if you can get him out. But again, besides Harry Grant, there's not that many options in the hooker position. We might talk
Starling?
about Reid Marnie. I mean, Starling is one that Savs has put up, but then again, Wolford's still starting this week, so it's just a bit random with him. So I think he's probably a hold for now, unless you have the trades to kind of get him out. My question on this one is for you guys is I still own Brimson. I started with him as a pod move. I think Savs did too. He's one of my gut feel players. Looks really good at times, but again, the same things that I brought up with Fafita are present here, which is inconsistent, performances from the team. And I'm just kind of like, would you guys look to move him out this week if you get him to Heinz somehow? Would you give him another week like Dewey? What's your guys' approaches on Brimo if you owned him?
I'd probably sell. Like as Tim just mentioned before, he's taken up a key spot in your side. It's a fullback or a 5'8". Depends who you're going to. Like if you're going to go even to someone like Garrick, I'd be all for that trade. But yeah, if it's to Heinz, 100%. But you bought him for a reason. Maybe this is a week where. But even he's been getting some attacking stats, and to me, it's just not enough. I don't think it's.
I can use a boost.
The Titans.
Yeah, sorry. You
go,
Timmy.
Go, Timmy.
Go ahead, Maxi.
There you go.
No. Sorry, Maxi.
That's all right. I was just saying I can't get to Heinz. I'm like 20k off, but I can use a boost and go Brimson to Monster.
Or D-bags. I'm all. I know we didn't talk about it, but I'm high on Dylan Brown this week.
Would you do that trade either Brown or? Yeah.
I'd get rid of Brimson because he's got the bye next week. So you're probably going to do it next week anyway. If you're not feeling him, you might as well get on it now and go to someone you're not happy with. But then again,
and the Storm.
Storm are playing Tigers.
He's a good player, but I just don't know how SuperCoach friendly his game can be compared to others in the position.
The ultimate pod captain in Munster too, man. Like having a VC or C on him, And I guess if you're not getting Heinz, that's your thing to fall on. Hey, I'm not getting the Heinz pod move or the Heinz jumping on him early. Instead, I'm jumping on Munster while the rest do that. I like it. Let's try.
All right, done, guys. I'm sold. Bringing in Munster.
Live trade.
Live trades on the show here. And I'm not going to do it, Timmy, like Snowflake says. I'm going to stick loyal to my trades.
I'm not going to. We're taking too much time up. I know that's why Sav doesn't like to do the team breakdown. I'm going to just pump through the 4 teams, and then we'll go into a few questions and probably answer them there. I'll stop if there's a key thing. But Bunnies, Manly. As I said, Manly's first chance to go up. So that's why Tom Trbojevic is in the top 10 most rated in. Not going to argue with that. Bunnies, they're in prop crisis. Saluka Fafita comes to start again, but I think my boy Mole is going to jump into the starting front row like he was in round 1 and round 2. They also have Sele that went down with that nasty concussion.
Yeah, so South lost Sele. Sorry, I'm just going to bang Sele. Arrow is still about a week away. Shaq Mitchell's 8 weeks. And Totola's 3 to 4. So they've lost quite a lot. Cheekham has, been awesome to start as a cheapie, but he's on the bench, which is huge. We all were talking 80 minutes. He got 10 in the bin and still mustered up a 50 score, which is great by him. But he's off to the bench now. Jacob Host has got that starting edge spot, which is a bit of a worry. So, they've got 3. Yeah, they're a bit light on middles on that bench. They've got Jed Cartwright, Cheekham. So, Mole scored pretty average 25 for those that have him. Hopefully, we get it back to that uptick in around 40, which would be nice. And over to Manly, they look almost unchanged. I'm not sure if Alawai was I guess the big one on Manly is Schuster. You're going a week early. He looked good. He had 3 try assists, but you take those try assists out. I think he did not run the ball once in terms of stat-wise and made 13 tackles, missed a couple. He would have been on about 10 points if you take
240K. I think it's going to be hard not to get in next week, but I don't think he's a desperate bring-in.
Yeah.
But it's scary. I don't think he's going to be a play.
Footy-wise.
Put Supercoach aside. Footy-wise, he was running straight into that line and just given the ball. There was no angle at all.
And the partnership he quickly created with Tom was brilliant. And they're going to be revisiting that a lot through the season. Maxi, you're a Manly fan. To answer Jake's question, would you play him this week against the Souths?
I wouldn't play him this week because I think it's going to be a really close game. I'd also, if you can bring him in this week, it saves a trade next week. So that's probably the only reason why you kind of would bring him in this week in case you're looking to maybe get a Heinz next week after you've had a week. In terms of how he's looking, I said it on Sunday, but I think he's looking much better. He's taken up to the criticism really well, and looking really good. So I think he's worth it. The only thing is, with a lot of 5'8" coming into play, and if you potentially hold Dewey, getting him in, especially with the second row cheapies we've got too that are coming in. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I've got Preston, Garner, Hopgood, Katoa. So I might not be able to bring him in unless I downgrade one of them. It's going to be a little hard. So for those who maybe can squeeze in this week, probably a good idea.
Yeah, I'm potentially looking at Isaiah Katoa if I really have to. It depends, how we perform this week as well, I guess, to how desperate it is. Let's pump through the next one. Warriors.
You can take that spot up, hey. Like, if you lock in someone else now, then next week you've got to fill it. So it's a really good point.
And the thing for me is if I go Munster this week, sorry to talk about my team all the time. If I go Munster this week, I've got Munster and Dewey in 5'8", and Cleary and Katoa. And because Shuey's only available at 5'8" second row, I've got the 4 big cheapies in there. So I got to go Garner to Schuster next week, which is when you started with Garner for a reason, you kind of wanted him to pick up those attacking stats and they will come. It's a hard way to get in there. So that might play into other people's trade considerations if you're looking at bringing maybe a Dillbags this week as a pod move. See next week if Schuster looks good, whether you can get him in and who you'll have to trade out for him, because it's not easy with the luxury of the cheapies that we have.
Yep. I agree with that. Let's pump through these last three teams, and then I'll if people have questions around these teams, we'll answer them. Warriors, Bulldogs, key change. Barnett is out. So it looks like, I'm not too sure who's coming for him. Is it Tavanga or Siren? Was Tavanga playing last week?
Jackson Ford's back.
Yeah, yep, starting. So, could be a cheapie in a couple of weeks once that 4 comes out. And the Bulldogs, not much changes for them. Looked great until they let the Tigers put a few points on. But Preston's a big one. I think if you miss the boat on him, I think he's still a great buy. And
this is probably the last week for him. He's going to be, 400K plus next week.
That 20's come out of his rolling average. So he's now got the 79, 59. And he looked great. There was 2 instances where he could have scored 2 or set up 2 tries and he knocked it on in 2 occasions. That could have been a ton. And he's a play for me at the moment, just against, especially like the Warriors have been awesome. And shout out to Andrew Webster, who comes from the Panthers. I think he's doing a great job so far. I guess everyone's waiting for the drop off, but so let's go to the next one. Knights versus the Raiders. Knights are still massively down on troops. The big one is they've dropped Dominic Young, which was reported, and Greg Marciu comes in. Big watch on him. I know a lot of people were keen on him as a pod to start. Brayley was Brayley in last week?
Yeah, no, Brayley was out with his concussion, so he's back.
Yeah, so he returns from the concussion. Then I think Jack Johns is also back, and with the Raiders, I know I was kind of mentioned Starling before, but I didn't realize that Wolford's back, starting number 9. But even on the bench, Starling's three scores have been amazing. He was great last week. Other than that, there's not too many more changes for them apart from Schiller's back there again on the wing.
And Papali's back as well. So Saulo, you kind of can expect less minutes now.
Yeah, he did start off the bench last week. Gula did start. But I think he could still kind of churn out the 35 points that he did last week.
Yeah, I think he's doing it.
Bit of a slow burn. He's already made you almost 60K and he's still got a break even of 6. So, yeah, you might see a regression and he might be a quick trade if you can, but there's not really many good front row options. In the last game of the week, your boys, Jake, Dragons versus Sharks. The biggest inclusion, of course, is Nico Heinz has returned. He's pushed Trinzel to the bench. Interesting, they've only got the 3 forwards on the bench now. And the Dragons, doesn't look like too many changes for them apart from, Ben Masila Murdoch, what it looks like an ultimate trap. And the Sharks, Jake, Teague Wilton. I've been very impressed by him. I know Heinz isn't on his side, but I think the important thing to note is I think Heinz lifts all the Sharks up, in my opinion.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Better attacking side with him there. I think, one of the reasons we haven't won two games. With Teague, he hasn't looked, I guess, quite good in footy sense, but he just churns out so much work. Like he gets through his runs, gets through his tackles.
Which is what we weren't expecting.
He hasn't really got those attacking stats yet. They will come, and I think with Heinz there, they're more likely to come for sure.
He's looking like with a try, he's going to be 85 plus, which last year he was needing a double to get that. So it's huge. He's got the 80 minutes locked down, especially while Wade Graham's out. So break even of 40, and yeah, he is owned just under 20%, but it's a good shout. I do think, a lot of these Cronulla guys, chuck on your watch list now. Heinz is back. They do have a buy soon, but
I guess after the buy, a lot of the outside backs who started at 6, all of them start over 600K. Their prices are coming down. I think you're kind of going to look at one of them perhaps after the buy, because especially with Heinz back.
100%. Let's answer some questions. Timmy, sorry, you wanted to say something?
I've got a quick one to come in. Yeah, I've just got something for people that aren't confident in Walsh and want to get off Teddy. I think
here we go.
Kennedy's looking real good. He's looking good. I know he's a little bit more than he's like 600K. He's got a low break even. He's got last week was pretty average, like score 55, but you can take that. You'll take it from you're copping that from Teddy anyway. 106 the week before and 70 to open
with a hat trick.
And that was
he does.
Hat trick, but so does Walsh. They're both exactly the same. You know what I mean? They're
very
both
good point.
Yeah. So if you want to go fade it and you're just not confident, I think he's looking really good. He's just really cemented himself into that side and established himself as a really good NRL fullback. So I like him.
Yeah,
But your question,
good
Todd.
point.
Quality player.
Yeah, we'll have a look, pump through a few questions, and then we'll get to our ball predictions and captaincy options. Just trying to work out where I start. If anyone's got some, put some in now. I'll just click a random one here. We'll go. All right, we'll start with you, Jake, Graham, Marlowe, Heinz, or Garrick.
Oh, I think
One.
Heinz.
I really like Garrick.
Garrick's good. I guess you.
Lower break even. Heinz hasn't had a match. It's
Yeah.
tough because I guess we're all kind of doing Heinz over Garrick, but
And Garrick plays for a better side too.
That's debatable. I think Heinz. I mean, both are going to be keepers at the end. I think the fact you've got Turbo doubling up on Manly, although they've had the bye already, Manly, I still think Heinz. I think Heinz is a player that has a higher floor and higher. They both have high ceilings, but I think he showed it last year. I think Heinz is an out and right gun. The fact he's come back from injury, though, bit of doubt. So he's not going to be as highly owned as Garrick is. So it's a tough one.
kind of a similar question. But in this instance, for Jared Watson, Hughes to Heinz or Noford to Garrick.
I think you'll
it's
get
a
a
pretty
no-brainer
no-brainer for me. Yeah,
No for the Garrick.
purely
we're saying
because
get Heinz
Hughes is
in.
great. Yeah, purely in this instance, I'd prefer the Garrick trade there because Noford's been dropped, and I think he's the perfect.
Hughes is still. He's going to the judiciary tonight, facing a 1 week charge. So he potentially.
And so
could
is
miss this
Felice.
week.
So the two important things we didn't know when we went through teams that both of them.
They've both been named, but I don't think Felice is
going
going to play.
judiciary. So I guess if he is suspended, then would he? It's a tough one. If you got Cleary, then look, your plan was to go Hughes to Heinz at some point. So I don't hate it. Someone makes a
just
point.
quickly,
Heinz was a
Timmy.
last weekend.
Just quickly, Timmy. What's your perspective on Garrick? I want to get your perspective.
I
Pick the former
wanted to
champs,
bring him
Greg.
in Lark instead of Carraz. So yeah, I was going to bring in Carraz, but I had I brought in Carraz, wanted to bring in Garrick, had massive FOMO of not getting Carraz and him going off. And I know he's got such a good SuperCoach game and he's going to make some good money. So I just had to go Carraz. But Garrick, I just feel like he's 14% owned, which is higher than I thought. I thought he'd be less owned with the amount of people that were on Val Holmes as a premium guy. But man, it just seems like he gets it done week in, week out. You know what I mean? He's kicking those goals. Yeah. Manly are playing real good footy, and he's bound to score a try most weeks. And when he's not, he's a big.
You'll need him
anyway,
at some point.
He's got the base.
Yeah.
Josh Smith. We already brought him up about the Heinz thing, but would you go Haas and Carraz or Tohu and Garrick?
It's a good point about Carraz. Is it too late? Yeah, I don't think it's too late to jump on Carraz. Like, I think last week he proved himself as a good buy. Like, it would have been better last week, but he scored 60. I'm very happy with that. A try would have put him up to 90s. And look, he's looking like a keeper at this point. The runs he makes and it's like To'o when he went on that massive run. So, I agree with Timmy. I think they're both good trades. They're both good trades.
I just want Haas over Tohu. Tohu's mad. He goes pretty good. He's consistent as hell, but Haas has got that upside where he can ton up and put some big ones on there. I feel like Haas is the boy.
Pick a couple more, Jake.
Warbrick. A lot of people are punting Warbrick. He's kind of had a bit of a stinker last week. Still,
he didn't get dropped, which we thought he would get dropped. Doesn't have much long, but
don't have any players to take his spot, I think.
And we didn't bring up Sloan, because we were trying to speed it up. We haven't brought him up. None of us are bringing him in. If I was considering if Heinz wasn't named 290K with a 294 with a very, very low break even. He's 78 and he got 50 something on the weekend. He looks very involved and. Look, I didn't hate the Warbrick to Sloan trade. I actually think it's quite a good trade. I'm just trying to get Sloan up. So 298 minus 41.
What I will say about Sloan is you can chuck. you can chuck Sloan in the same category as fullback as Will Kennedy and Walsh. They really need that attack. I think he does have those low scores. He's a great money maker. I'd be scared to play Sloan a lot, although you can hide him in the center wing, which is the perfect part. You don't have to have him at back. I like because you've got him in your side, you're probably going to want to play him more weeks than not. Whereas Warbrick, you probably want to leave him out, which is, and I think that Sloan could hurt in playing him, more often than not. I just feel like there's that too many low scores. He is a young fella on the rise, and we haven't seen enough of him. There may be a lot more attack than we're aware of.
He wants to keep that jersey. He wants to keep that jersey.
Can't ignore him.
It's been priced at $450. Yeah,
it's his jersey now because bloody Ramsey's gone.
Yeah, honestly,
anyway,
it's.
I don't know who would take that spot.
It's a week to jump on because if Warbrick gets dropped, then you know what I mean. If Warbrick gets dropped next week, and then there's we're going to be looking at shit. What do we do? You probably hold him till an option comes along, and this is a solution now. This was definitely going to be my third trade if Heinz wasn't in.
Also, though, we have got Warbrick playing the Tigers. Like, of all the weeks that he could score well,
it's George.
It's a
this
good
is
point.
The one where
it
he
is
could
a good
just
point.
score a hat trick, and then you're sitting there with a guy who you traded out at 200k. That's just got like a negative, 220. That's got like a negative 80 in their break even, and you're just like, well, that's there goes 200k. So I don't know. You go, Timmy.
Sloan is in the category of missing the boat, though. Like, if you don't get him, he's got a minus 40 BE. He's going up this week.
You have to jump on this week if you want him.
If you like him. Yeah.
He hasn't gone up in price. Yeah, you've
got
to jump. Yeah.
You can't pay
100%.
floors for him or... Yeah.
We've got one last question. Wait, I've got one first, Jake.
Why you put
Joe, how'd you go last week, Jake?
Well, I went better last week than he did the week before because he captained Ponga when he got 1 point. And he whinged about it the entire week.
One of Jake's fan club that we had.
Is that his year 10 formal photo? Or?
Yeah, he still has it, eh?
Jake, sorry, go back to the question that I took down.
No, this one. What value do you put on a trade? As in, how many points or dollars to make it worthwhile?
Great question. By Zim Vader. Love the photo there.
I guess it kind of comes back to the Trindle one a lot of people did last week. They kind of go, they brought him in and then they're going to have to pay him anyway. Was 100k worth it? I don't think 100k is enough.
Well, 100. They used to say 100k was worth the trade a couple of years ago. We've got more trades now. There's extra rounds. It's a bit hard to get your head around. Yeah, I'm not too sure what that price point of value would be there, but I think it's a bit more than 100k even with the trades. That's just my gut feel.
Apparently, Sabs has brushed us. Apparently Sabs has brushed us to the SuperCoach podcast.
Is that what they're saying?
He's on PickleBet.
That's what they're saying. They're saying
he's on PickleBet this week.
No, they're commenting on his hair.
Yeah.
So, is that live, that one?
No, but there was a one. Timmy, don't they record that during the day? Don't they record that one during the day?
No, they're just Mitchell Webster. You guys are just falling for any if it's written on paper, you guys think it's like the journalism. Mitchell Webster's reporting that Sabs is there. It doesn't mean shit. We know where Sabs is. He's been inboxing us, guys. He's shown us photos of where he is tonight. We know where he is. Bloody hell.
Oh, no, it literally said 46 minutes ago on SuperCoach NRL. It's Brandon Savage in the middle with Sangster and Rob Sutherland. Literally 46 minutes ago.
All right, so that scoop might be true. So,
there's a Tuesday. There's a Tuesday show. Yeah, but he would have done that in the daytime, not now.
Yeah.
So he scratched us,
which is fine
today.
We're associated. We're associated with NRL SuperCoach this year. So Timmy on there. So you might see a couple of our heads on there again. So
good to see the boys on the Thursday live podcast. I always love that when I see. You've been on, Timmy, obviously. Sabs has been on. Mikey, you've been on once or twice.
It was good fun, great fun. Let's go one more trade. Question, sorry. That's just Jake commenting on that. I would say 170k just as a trade. Maybe players are worth 900k compared to 600k. Yeah, important thing. Yeah, cool. And back to Jared Watson.
Could do T to Walsh and offer to Carraz, Liero to Katoa. It's a bit of sideways.
It's not sideways. Lioro's a bum, and I know you own him, Jake, but he's...
Yeah.
I'd jump to him. Look at how Katoa's scoring compared to him, and he's going up. And we haven't seen him score a try yet with these big scores. He's a try, and he's 90. So, 80. So there's a lot to like about Katoa. Munster's back this week. Same thing about Heinz boosting the Storm. They're still scoring points. So, yeah, I'd do that. I like that, Jared. Let's go into the next part. Let's start to finish it off. We've been going for almost an hour and a half. We won't do it together. We'll just go one by one. Let's go to captaincy. Timmy, you were talking about it yesterday, saying it was a bit of a hard round. I think it's a bit of a
I reckon it's a hard one.
Vanilla round. We'll start with you. What are you thinking?
Yeah.
VC and C.
Oh, it's tough, man. VC, I probably am shy to not have it on Nath back after a bye. Eels, struggling. They could be just desperate and play terribly. You know what I mean? Like, they're probably going to turn up, but 3-0, you can just try too hard sometimes and nothing works for you. And I've got a feeling that might happen for the Eels this weekend. So, yeah, hopefully Panthers, for my sake and his sake, can keep cracking that whip. I think Harry Grant's a good option as a VC as well. Also a straight C. And obviously just Teddy. Turbo. It's pretty boring. There's nothing that really stands out in matchup. But yeah, that seems like there's the conservative options, and that's probably where I'll be.
Yeah, I'll butt in next. I'm going VC on Cleary and C on Harry Grant. I'm going to play the safety. Grant's got nice 3-round scores. People might think he might fall a bit, but I'm not really interested. I just think he's playing the Tigers. I really like Harry Grant as an option for captaincy. The main reason with Cleary, I've got a VC someone before. I'll go to you in a sec, Timmy, but I don't have anyone to loop this week. I own no Roosters players. So, you sure? Yeah, I don't want to.
I just was thinking that Harry. I thought he scored crap against the Tigers. He's only played them once, obviously, because he started there, and it's weird.
And Cheese was there. It's important to note that this is his first 3 games in the NRL. 3 games this year, no Cheese. He's the main hooker, and he's had all the attacking stats. Maybe Munster, maybe he doesn't attack as much, like he doesn't get as many attacking stats. But realistically, he's one attacking stat from a solid captaincy choice. So for me, I'm going to play it safe with the captaincy option this week. I've 3 weeks in a row, I've done very well. 90, 80 and 100 for my captaincy choices. So I'm hoping I can keep that form up. We'll go down to Maxi. What are you thinking? I know we're going to pretty be similar this week because there's some weeks where you can go a pod move and there's some where I think just follow the pack.
Yeah, so I'm looking at if I go with the Munster trade, which I'm kind of keen to just bring him in, considering your arguments and what I said on the show. I might go VC Cleary and then captain Munster as a bit of a pod option against the Tigers. I'm just concerned that he only averages about 56 historically against the Tigers, but again, the Tigers are a bit of an
even worse than the normal Tigers.
Yeah, exactly. And if I don't do that, I'll probably end up doing VC Munster into Captain Turbo. I'm also slightly concerned about Turbo. Turbo only averages about 67 against South Sydney. I know Manly are fantastic, but we never really play that good against South Sydney. They're a slightly bit of a bogey team for us, and they're looking pretty all right. I know the Roosters matchup wasn't obviously the best, but I still think that they're a team that could get a win against us easily. So
their forwards makes them really light, but I think I don't hate the C on Turbo this week, but Maxi brings up some great points there.
Yeah, and we do have Sean Kepi at 17, who's one of the best front rowers in the game. So great to come through.
Yeah, nearly as good as Spencer.
Jake,
I don't expect you to be doing too much different to what's been said, but
no, I think I'm going to take a page out of your book from last week, Mikey. I think I'm going to throw the straight C on the first game and go Cleary.
Also like that. That was my second option.
I don't have any loopable players. I'm getting rid of all my Roosters, so I think that might be my play this week.
Yeah, hey, in your position, I don't mind that move. I think that's a good move. I even don't mind Heinz as like. Sure, there's going to be someone him. I know it's a bit risky with the
Heinz
calf.
Could be a risky.
You could do all or nothing
because he may be a laid out. He might not get through captain's run or something. So
could be the same. Yeah, could be the same thing. But yeah, I like the shout on Cleary. I think he'll be up for a big one that week.
Frank Pele not named.
Ready to whirl.
Is that right?
He was out.
He wasn't named last week.
Yeah, that's why I did. Yeah, that's why I didn't know that he was a late scratching last week, so he wasn't.
I can use him to loop. Sick. All right.
Yeah, there you go. All right, let's go to bold predictions. Jake, we'll start with you. I'm just going to go to the solo layout.
Yeah, I think that the Plotter Liero is going to outscore Katoa this week. I think Nathan also gets 120 plus, and actually Heinz won't quite beat him, but he'll go 100 as well.
Yeah, nice. Maxi, bold predictions.
Oh. All right. So I am going to go. I'm going to go Murray to bounce back with 90 plus against my Seagulls. Now South won't win, but Murray will still have a good performance. Bounce back with a 90 plus there. And in fact, no, let's go bold and let's say 100 plus on Murray. I'm going to say Sean Kepi to get a try. And go 60 plus to keep some cash generating for the boys. So that's my second one. And then I'm going to go Munster because I brought him in 120 plus on him coming back from injury. He's going to score a decent chunk, and either he's going to reward me if he's in my side, and if he's not, there's going to be a bit of a Savs kind of move that he kind of recommended and didn't go on for me. So those are my three picks. So Munster 120 plus, Kepi to score a try and 60 plus. And then, of course, you've got Cam Murray with 100 plus.
Very bold, Maxi. And Timmy, we'll go to you.
Yeah. My bold predictions are going to be Reece Walsh, sub 50. I really respect what the Dolphins are doing. I think they'll turn up, and I think their defense will be key. They'll be marking him, and be very aware of what he's got to offer. I think Khan Pereira's in for a plus 50 score. So Khan Pereira to outscore Walsh. And I'm going to say Rocky Miller to turn up this week because I sold him last week, which has really burnt me. And it's going to annoy me, I feel. So Rocky Miller to turn up.
He actually looked all right, Rocky Miller. He got a double.
That try score was great.
I guess then that brings me to my bold predictions. I'm just going to do it because I never get these right anyways. I'm going to go Nathan Cleary to beat his break even of 160. I'm like, screw it. Like, just in case Penrith pull off a miracle, which, look, that's why we call it bold predictions. And because that's so bold, I'll partner it with just one more. And what am I going to partner it with? Teague Wilton's going to cross over for a try this week and go 70 plus. With the return of Nico Hines.
Yep. Yeah, good one.
All right. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Great to have a full panel and to have Maxi back on a TLT pod and also Timmy's first appearance for the year. Thanks for coming on, boys. No Sabs. Sure, he'll be back next week. He'll be back next week.
He can't miss.
If he doesn't leave us for the project or something, I think he's going to get called up for the project.
Yeah, there's people already calling it saying on the SuperCoach NRL page saying leave the experience for the project. So I think we're going to have a bit of a contract saga on our hands, but hopefully we've got some good player agents ready to go.
We'll be ready with the player signings. We'll be right. All right, thanks, guys. Have a good one and good luck for this coming week.
Cheers.